The reason I like sharing my story is because I truly believe in the American dream. And if you were to look at my story from where I started to where I am now, you would see that I am an embodiment of the American dream. I'm a first-generation immigrant. My parents came here in the 70s from Palestine. A little known fact about myself, I was actually born in Jerusalem, so I am an immigrant. I'm a proud immigrant. And I came when I was about 3 years old, so America is really all that I know. We came here, and as most immigrants, we didn't grow up with much. We grew up, 8 of us, in a 3-bedroom apartment on the southwest side of Chicago. And, at the time, we didn't realize we didn't have much, and I really enjoyed, my childhood and how we grew up. And looking back at a lot of the things that I learned from my childhood, I still carry on to this day as an attorney. And one thing that my parents really instilled in me, and one big reason that they came to this country, is they knew that there was a chance for social mobility. And the one main key to social mobility in this country was an education. As I would go on in my life, and like I said, we didn't grow up with much, so we would move around a lot. I didn't stay in a school for longer than maybe 3 years. And as a child, I didn't like that as much. By the time you get to a school and you make friends and you get to know people and you get comfortable, all of a sudden you got to pick up and move again. And looking back at it now, it was one of those blessings in disguise type of things, because we grew up in so many different areas, around so many different people, low income, high income, different cultures, different races, that now as an attorney, I feel it's an asset for me, because I've been around so much. I feel I can go into any situation and deal with any type of client and be able to relate to them and empathize with them because of the fact that we lived and grew up around so many different areas. When I got to high school, again, I was never the smartest kid in class. I actually didn't do too well in high school. I barely just graduated. I did just enough to get out of high school. But I knew I wanted to do something, and I wasn't able to make it to a university, so I did what a lot of kids in my area did. I went to community college. I went to Moraine Valley Community College, and for the first about year and a half, 2 years, I didn't take it seriously. I didn't really participate in class. I didn't get good grades. I was just kind of there to be there. And it wasn't until I took one class that really changed, I would say, the course of my whole career, and that class was international relations. And I'll never forget this class because I had one of the greatest professors that I ever had. And the reason he was so great was he didn't care about our answers. Every time we would go through something in class, we would ask him, did we get it right? What was the final answer? And he never once gave us an answer. He kept saying, I don't know, I don't care. And his philosophy was, I don't care about the final answer. I want you to learn how to think and analyze. And I care how you got to your answer more than I care about your answer. And that really ingrained in my head that a lot of times we're so worried about the answer, but we forget how we get to that point. And it was just one of those classes that just really got to me, and it really taught me a lot. I enjoyed it. I loved going to that class. It was a small class. It was maybe 6 of us in the class. But that professor really taught me that it's not always the right or wrong, but it's the analytics and how you look at things and how you view things. And I ended up getting an A in the class. It was the first A I ever got. And I was excited. I was really geeked up about it because I was like, oh, it's my first A. And, it really gave me some confidence to go forward. And at that point, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't grow up wanting to be a lawyer. We didn't grow up around doctors and lawyers and educated people. So it wasn't something that I grew up my whole life saying, yes, I'm gonna be a lawyer. It wasn't until probably community college where I had to make a decision, what am I gonna do with my career? And after this class, I knew I wanted to take more political science classes. And came to a point, people laugh at me when I say this, but it's true. I told myself I'm not smart enough to be a doctor, and I really like to work with people. I wanted to be able to help people at their worst moment, and I realized with political science, I would either work for a think tank or go to law school. So it was kind of multiple things at one time, but it was after this class that I really decided that I think I wanted to consider, at this point, it's only considering going to law school, and I wanted to take the next steps to look into it and see what I would need to do after that. So here I am, I'm at community college, and now I'm finally excited. I got my first A, and I kind of have an idea of what I want to do. The problem is I wasted almost 2 years, and at this point, I had a 1.7 GPA at community college. So I'm thinking there's no way I'm going to get into another college. I'm going to be here for a while. So the idea of law school was still kind of far-fetched for me. It was still kind of a dream at this point. I didn't really know or think I was able to get there. And I'll never forget it. I was with a friend from high school. We had some of the same classes. She was going to apply for college and basically said, hey, why don't you come with me and apply? Kind of laughed it off. I said, hey, do you know my GPA? I mean, there's just no way anybody's going to accept me. So basically, I just went with her just to go with her. And I'll never forget, I was there, and I don't know why I picked DePaul. I still, till today, I don't know why I chose DePaul. I think it's because I liked Lincoln Park, and it was a private institution. But I also wanted to see how badly they would deny me. And I'm like, okay, with my GPA, there's just no way DePaul's going to accept me. So I applied to DePaul and applied to a couple other local universities. And somehow, some way, by God's grace, I suppose, DePaul accepted me. And I was super excited, super confused, didn't know why or how. But at this point, I said, you know what? DePaul took me. I'm going to take it. I'm going to ride the wave. And I'm just going to go there and make do with the situation that I have. So I get to DePaul, so here I am, the Southside kid, and I'm in Lincoln Park, and I, honest to God, had no idea what I was doing there. I didn't even know how to apply for classes. I didn't know what a 300 level class was. I'll never forget my first semester, I applied for a 300 level Middle Eastern class, and I said, hey, it's Middle East, it's my people, I should do well in this. And I didn't know a 300 level class meant it was the top level class, so I get to the first day of class, and I was so lost. I had no idea what I was doing there. These kids were really super smart, and I would just sit in the back and I would just act like I knew what I was doing, but I had no idea. And I told myself, basically, I'm here, I'm gonna make the best of this situation. And what saved me was my professors at DePaul. They really, really took me in and basically said, hey, you're a little rough around the edges, kid, but you have talent, you work hard, we believe in you. If you listen to us, we'll teach you how to play the game of life, and we'll teach you how to play the game of education, and we'll make sure that you walk out of here with a diploma. And one thing about myself is I will never be the smartest person in the room, but nobody will work harder than me. And that was always my philosophy growing up, and that comes from my blue-collar work ethic. And I've worked since I was 15 years old. I've always had a job, I've always worked. So at this point, I said, you know what, I might not be the smartest kid in this class, but I'll be damned if someone else is gonna work harder than me in this class. So I basically put my head down and I just worked. And I would use my office hours, and I got to know my professors on a personal level, and they really just took me in. I mean, they didn't have to. I don't know what it is about me that they saw, but they saw something and they took me in, and I learned a lot through them. And at this point, I realized law school was now a realistic dream for me, and I just really worked at it and I made it my goal. So I'm at DePaul now, I'm full-time. Tuesday and Thursday I go to class from 9:30 to 10 o'clock at night, and the other 5 days I was working open to close. I was managing a clothing store. I also had my real estate license at this time. So I'm literally 7 days a week for about a year and a half, and I really enjoyed it. I loved being on a hustle, and I loved doing it. I left Moraine Valley with a 1.7 GPA. I ended my GPA at DePaul with a 3.85, which evened out to about a 3.3, 3.4. But I pretty much kicked butt at DePaul. So now it came time to basically apply for law school. And I did just good enough to get denied by every law school that I applied to. And I'll never forget it because I felt I worked so hard and I did so well. And I busted my ass for 3 years, and only to get denied by every law school. And then Michigan State comes along and says basically, look, if you enter this program, it's a conditional acceptance. Take this program, come to us 2 months early. If you do well in this program, we'll give you an acceptance. However, you have to come and basically see if you're capable to handle law school. And I was excited. I said, look, any chance I can get into law school, this is my one chance. I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna run with it. The problem was, DePaul's on a quarter system, and I had 5 weeks left of DePaul when I was supposed to go for this program. So now I'm devastated again because my one opportunity is gone because of the quarter system. And again, my professors kind of saved the day and basically said, look, we know how hard you've worked. We know this is your dream. Go ahead, chase it. we'll deal with the school. So we basically worked out a way to finish a lot of the work early and go. The next hard part was telling my mom, who I'm the only male to go to college, that she's not gonna see me walk across the stage to graduate. And she told me something that I'll never forget, and it stays with me till today. And she said, "This is your dream, go chase it. I'll cry tears when you walk across the stage in law school." And that was it from there. And I packed up my car, drove to East Lansing, and I entered the program. So here I am. I entered the program. I did well enough. They gave me an acceptance. So now, 7 years later, from community college to DePaul, the Southside kid now is at a Big Ten law school. And it was my dream. It was my goal. It was something I worked at. I still couldn't believe it at first, but I didn't have time to waste. I was in law school now, and anybody that goes to law school will tell you, especially your first years, is extremely difficult. And again, I was never the smartest kid in class. I didn't have the best grades. I'll be honest with you, I finished, I think, top or bottom 25% of my law school class. And I was at the point where I said, I don't need to be top 10 of my class. I just need to get the license, because I always knew I was going to rely on my hustle more so than I was going to rely on my grades. So my philosophy was basically, let me do enough to pass, let me take the bar exam, and let me get my license, and I will figure out my way from there. So 3 years of law school, anybody who goes to law school will tell you it's the worst 3 years of your life. Law school is just tough, it's brutal, it's competitive. The plus side of law school is some of my best friends that I've met in my life, who I'm still dear friends with today, I met in law school. So there was some plus to law school, but for the most part, law school's work. I went to law school, graduated. Yes, my mom did come, my mom did cry, my family did come. It was kind of a family accomplishment. And now it was time for the bar exam. I put my head down for about a month and a half, day in and day out. I knew I wanted to take it once and one time only. So here I am, I passed the bar exam, I graduated law school, I followed my dreams, and here comes reality. Basically the worst legal market in 90 years. I'm not even getting job interviews, let alone any job offers. And I basically said to myself, before I got my bar exam results, that if I passed the bar, I couldn't put my destiny in someone else's hand and wait for a job offer. So basically I told myself, if I pass the bar, I'm just gonna go in, dive in, and start my own law practice, as crazy as it sounds. Everybody thought I was crazy for doing that. I had 2 professors in law school, the only 2 in the law school that actually said, hey, go ahead and do it. We believe you can do it. The law school tried to talk me out of it. Career Services tried to talk me out of it, and pretty much said, you're crazy, you're nuts, nobody can do that. Now they are right, it is crazy, it is nuts, but the way I looked at it was 2 things. 1, I wasn't even supposed to be here. I'm playing with house money. I'm gonna roll the dice, chips all in. 2, I'm not getting any job offers, so I can't just sit here and wait around for someone to give me my destiny. I'm gonna put my destiny into my own hands, and I'm basically gonna do what I have to do to survive at this point. So I passed the bar exam, and my family threw me a little party, and I basically told all my family and close friends, don't give me any cool gifts, just give me cash, I need the cash. And they didn't know why, but after the party, I made just enough for my family and friends. I bought a desk, a laptop, a few notepads, some pens. I put my first month's security deposit down. I paid my first month's rent, and I was sworn in November 14th, December 1st, Ramadan and Associates was born.